Hello everybody, welcome back to Stargirl Society, the podcast that inspires you to reclaim your power and start living the life of your dreams. I'm your host, Phoebe Goldsmith, and if you're new here, we would love to have you. If you do like today's episode, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And if you like content like this, be sure to follow our Instagram at Stargirl Society Pod and my TikTok at Phoebe Goldsmith. Now let's get into today's episode. There is a situationship pandemic, and today that's exactly what we're talking about. I've done a couple of episodes before about relationships or about men. However, I wanted today to do a deep dive into situationships specifically. My qualifications for this episode include being in a 4-year situationship myself. So I've got you, put it that way. It makes me feel physically sick, the volume of men that still want situationships. And the further I get into my 20s, I'm like, when is this gonna stop? I don't think it is. So therefore, we need to educate ourselves. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. We're gonna run the diagnostics. Are you in a situationship? Have you been in a situationship? I'm gonna tell you 5 reasons why situationships are demolishing your soul. We're hopefully going to be putting the mental war that you are in to bed. And we're going to talk about how to exit the situationship cycle. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first up, welcome to Are You in a Situationship? So here is my criteria. If you like this person, however, there are one of the following words, aka I like you, but I think this arrangement works really well for us, so why change it? Who needs labels these days? I'm just not ready to commit to a full relationship. Actions, i.e. they are not being exclusive, they don't want exclusivity, or they're not actually taking you out, they're not physically making the effort to see you consistently, or maybe they are and they're hot and cold, or simply the passing of time or lack of movement altogether with this person. You are in a situationship, babes. If you've slept with someone more than 3 occasions, if you text in between that, if you feel an emotional connection with that person, if you don't feel like you want to get with other people, but there are the words, the actions, or the lack of movement that we've mentioned, congratulations, you are also in a situationship. This is not restricted to people who don't take you out ever. They might take you out. They might do relationshipy things. But what defines a situationship is the lack of intention to commit to you fully. They give parts of themselves, but not all of themselves. And they want parts of you, but not all of you. Whether that be sex, emotional support, someone to cuddle at night, but they will not commit. And as I said, I was in this situation for 4 years. So there certainly is no judgment from me, guys. Let's move on to 5 reasons that situationships are demolishing your soul, because this is the most important part of this episode. Number 1, situationships are not sustainable for your nervous system. When things are not definitive, when people leave you in the lurch, when people are hot and cold, it becomes an addiction for your nervous system. The highs are extremely high and the lows are extremely low. And if you have any extraneous factors, such as poor mental health, issues with your inner child, ADHD, anything with dopamine, dysregulation, this is going to cause an addiction. And it's not sustainable for your nervous system to exist in this state long term, and you will break. And that is what happened to me. Feeling like your heart and your emotions for someone doesn't belong somewhere is the most unsettling feeling. Never being sure whether someone wants you or they don't want you, receiving mixed signals from someone will literally drive you insane. But sadly, it's really easy to get used to that. But as a result, you will sacrifice your sanity and so many other areas of your life. And I'm all about protecting my nervous system these days. And I think part of the reason is because I know what it's like for my nervous system to be existing permanently in a state of absolute chaos on a whole other level. Nervous system dysregulation is bad enough as it is, but when you add in feelings and emotion for a person into that situation, you don't even want to know. And if you do know, I'm with you. I get it. Another reason why situationships demolish your soul is because they quite literally rewire your brain chemistry to believe that people are allowed to only choose parts of you and not all of you. The longer and longer you are in a situationship with someone, you will start to absorb the idea that it is okay for this person to only want you when it is convenient for them, and it can really damage your self-concept and your self-esteem. When I was in a situationship, it got to the point where I was like, oh, I wonder if he's in the mood for me today. I wonder what's going on in his life today, and if that dictate whether he wants me or to what degree he wants me in his life at the moment. It also completely shifts your reality as to what you deserve from a man. The situationship I went through is the reason that I will never judge people that get into horrendous relationships, because you think you're above it, you're not. You think you're smart enough to not get in a situation like that, to see the warning signs, to be able to leave. You think your self-esteem is good enough. I don't think anyone is above ever being in a toxic relationship, because it doesn't happen in the way that people think it happens. It slowly but surely brainwashes you. And for me, I reached the point where I was like, I know I'm in a warped reality, but I literally don't know how to get out. It becomes your new normal after a while. The mixed signals, the lack of, quite frankly, anything that they're bringing to the table. I know some people relate to this, them not actually knowing anything about you or your life, and quite frankly not caring, never asking you questions. It becomes your new normal, and then that is what you think you deserve. And it takes a really long time to work your way out of that mindset. The fourth issue with situationships is that it makes you believe that love can be worked for, respect can be worked for, attention has to be earned, has to be worked for. If you have even an ounce of unhealed energy within you, it is going to latch on to this mission to prove your worthiness to the person you are in a situationship with. There are a group of people, me included, who see it as a mission to be accepted by someone who couldn't fucking care less about me. And every single time you suppress how you're truly feeling to avoid conflict, or you're running off of a script of what you think this person wants to hear, you are reinforcing the idea that if you change, that if you tailor your entire lifestyle and personality and every word that comes out of your mouth to this person, then it's going to work. And the trouble is, it works for maybe 5 minutes or a day, and then the cycle repeats. And really, there is no singular code to be cracked that is going to allow you to be accepted by this person. But that game becomes your new normal, and you move with the belief that love can be earned and worked for. Last but certainly not least, the fifth reason why situationships are horrible for the soul is because it makes you put somebody else's needs entirely above your own. It reduces you entirely to what you can offer a man as opposed to the needs of your soul and what he can do for you. Most of the time in a situationship, the man thinks he has hit the jackpot because he's finally got somebody who will cuddle him to sleep and listen to his problems, satisfy that need for physical touch, and he does not give an F what he is doing for you because he is selfish and all he cares about is what you are offering him. The whole situationship gets manipulated around the idea of what he wants, and your needs, especially if you have a tendency to do this in the first place, get squashed and squashed and squashed until they are non-existent, until you physically and emotionally feel like you would die to be in a situationship with this person. You would do anything. You would set alarms to see in the night to see if they replied. Guys, it's really, really rough out here, and I'm still healing from the aftermath. I think that a really important mindset to escape from when you are in a situationship is, but he wouldn't be behaving this way if he didn't like me a bit. He would. He kisses my forehead. We talk about deep shit. He must like me. Stop overestimating men. It's easy to think that, well, I do these caring things for him and I like him, so it must be the same for him. No, some people are genuinely that detached. We have to turn our back on the mindset that I don't think he would do this to me. I know him. He certainly would. And he is doing this to you. And even if he likes you, if he is not willing to commit to you, it is not enough. And when we think about toxic situationships, we have to ask ourselves, where has this perception of caring come from? Why are we falling for this shit? We might think this man is really caring simply because our childhood self, our nervous system is used to people treating us like this. It's used to people being hot and cold. It's used to having to prove itself for love and attention. It's used to people claiming they like you, claiming they care about you, and acting in the complete opposite way. But we have to fucking decide to stop it. We have to escape for our younger self. We might be used to people using us, but you don't fucking deserve that. You are everything. You are too fucking precious to allow somebody to use you entirely for their own benefit. And I am so passionate about that. You bring so much to the table and you are pouring into people's cups and they are not pouring into you, and that is not what you deserve. You are worthy of infinite love. You are worthy of someone who shows up for you, who doesn't make you second guess. You deserve to have your nervous system at rest, and that is why we have to break the situationship cycle. So let's look at how we are going to break the cycle. The key thing for breaking the situationship cycle is ensuring that the first time you end things with that person is the only time. If it's too little, too late for that, don't worry. We're going to cover that in a minute. But the reason I say that is because if you go back after the first time, your brain gets used to going back. You will go back and end things over and over and over again. Hashtag no regrets. But the mistake I made with my situationship was the first time I ended it should have been the last time I ever spoke to that person. I ended it after a year and a half. I went back. It then became 4 years of going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, because every single time I ended it, I just thought, this isn't actually the end. Like, I was sad, but I was like, ugh, he'll come around, he'll come back, because they always do. They always do. So that is why we have to try and make the first time the only time. And how I'd recommend doing that is by removing 3 things. Removing their existence from your phone and life, removing the excuses that they had, and removing the concept that they cared about you. When you end a situationship, you have to aggressively remove them from all areas of your phone and your life to the best of your ability. No doors can be left open. Situationships are built on weak boundaries, and they end from creating strong boundaries. He was using the door that was slightly wedged open in order to manipulate you in the first place. So unless you fully close that door, he's going to continue to try and use that. I would strongly suggest that you go cold turkey and block them. That is what I wish I did a lot sooner than I did. Number 2 is to remove the excuses. So people think it's really black and white, like, oh, this person's evil, like, why are you with them? They tell you these life stories. They tell you these like traumatic things they've been through. Most people are not all bad. There is clearly something that you have with this person, but that cannot be a motivating factor in order to stay with someone. I don't care. I've been through shit. You've been through shit. Everyone's been through shit, but not everyone is going to manipulate people in the way that he is. So whenever these thoughts arise of, but I just feel like he needed someone, like he needed someone to listen to his problems, he needed someone to hold at night, whatever, just remind yourself, I think that's what you need. And he's not going to give it to you, and someone can give that to you. And that environment can exist in a healthy way. You are not that man's therapist anymore, and you can find a situation in which you can help someone, but they can also help you. The third way I will say to break the cycle of the situationship is to remove the concept that they like you. I hate to be a pessimist, but it's the only way. I went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth in my head on the daily to all my friends saying, oh, does he like me though? Because he did this. And even some of my friends are like, I just can't even believe that he doesn't like you the way he is with you, like it, from what you're describing. And I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. The only way I finally got over it is by actually looking myself in the mirror and saying, he just does not want me. And I know that is really harsh, but for as long as you keep the wish alive that they are going to suddenly realize that you're the love of their life, you are never going to leave them and you're never going to move on, because you're always going to be holding out hope. Even if it's not true, you have to start convincing yourself that they don't want to be with you. Because I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, but if they actually wanted to be with you, they would. I think often we make the concept of someone not actually liking us a lot scarier than it actually is. I put off actually coming to terms with that. I'm 1000% a better person, more confident myself once I came to terms with that fact, because I wasn't like, oh my God, he doesn't like me, which means no one will ever like me. I was like, he doesn't like me because he's going to find someone at his level. I wouldn't like me either if I was there and someone else was up there. Like, actually kind of makes sense. I wouldn't like someone that's challenging me. I wouldn't like someone who's trying to get me to actually live up to expectations, to keep my word. I wouldn't like someone who actually has their head screwed on and is holding me accountable when I'm not like that. And as I've grown up over the years, I've really built my self-concept to believe that not everyone has to like me. Not even the people I like have to like me. Not everyone is going to like me, and that is okay. Because at the end of the day, I know my dream partner exists. So what's it to me if this person doesn't like me, or if I lose this person? I like me. At the end of the day, I know what I bring to the table. And if you can't see that, or if you can't appreciate it, then that's your problem, not mine to carry anymore. And again, I hate to give this advice because I wish men, when I said them this, but you don't want to be around when they inevitably crop up with a girlfriend in a few months or a year after they've been telling you, I don't want a girlfriend, I don't want a girlfriend, I'm not ready for a relationship. It's sad, but it's easier to believe as a girl that if someone's saying they don't want a relationship, it means they don't want a relationship with you, or they're just not ready and they don't want you right now. You could stick around to find out if they eventually want you, but I would not recommend. It's better to remove yourself now than learn that lesson the hard way. They might meet someone that satisfies their needs now and meets them at the level that they are currently at in life, and that is fine. And that is not a reflection of you, that's a reflection of them. If they find someone that's better for them and will put up with their shit more than you will put up with their shit, like, cool. Go ahead, like seriously go right ahead. Literally let someone else take on this problem. Sometimes I think to myself about men that I have dated in the past, and I'm like, thank God somebody else is dealing with these issues, because I'm sleeping great at night. My nights out aren't ruined. Precious time on earth isn't ruined. Hers probably is. Or maybe it's not. Maybe they're having a great time because maybe they're just more compatible. But either way, I'm happy to not be dealing with that anymore. Thank you. So if the cycle has been repeating over and over for you, as it was for me, I would say the mindset that I would adopt now, in hindsight, is to not wait for the next big thing to happen in order to call it a day. You can decide at any moment in your situationship that it's done. I think that waiting for something big to happen again makes it worse, because you are anticipating that you'll feel ready and that it will be easy when that thing happens. You're assuming that you're going to want to do it because you told yourself before that when the next thing happens, you're going to want to do it. And then you're not going to want to do it, understandably. And then you're going to feel shit about yourself. And then you've also reached a new level of tolerance for the shit that you're going to put up with. And the cycle just continues. So I actually think it's better to leave on a random Tuesday, just decide, because when you are calmer relatively to when things explode, I think it's easier to make more rational decisions, to implement everything else we've said, i.e. cutting them off, like changing your mindset on how they feel about you. Whereas if you're in this like heightened state of emotion, that's going to be a lot harder for you to do. There's something so empowering about just randomly deciding to walk away. That's what I did, and it's worked unbelievably well for me. That's why I say that. You don't have to give warning either. I saw this thing the other day that was like, when someone's not considering you, like you don't have to consider them. And I'm a good person and I feel emotion. I feel sad for people. So like walking away from someone without giving them an explanation, like feels very unnatural to me, and it will to a lot of you as well. But I'm just like, you didn't consider me once. Like you don't care. Like you don't have it within you to care. So why should I care? I don't believe in reciprocating energy like that necessarily, or stooping to the level of other people, but I think you fall into a really sticky trap when you try and over explain yourself, or try and be considerate to people who like don't even have that as a concept in their brain. It's not with the intention of getting back at someone, it's with the intention of choosing yourself. If a byproduct of choosing yourself is the karma that that person deserves, then so be it. Ultimately, guys, I really just want to hone in on the fact that you should not be blaming yourself for being in a situationship. Although I have done far from gentle parenting in this episode, I really want you to know that I don't think you're an idiot for being in a situationship. People always tell me, oh, well, by people I mean men, you were so stupid. That's actually your fault. Why do men say that? Why do men say that? I'm not saying I was held hostage, but emotionally I felt that way. And why do men always say, well, that was your fault. Like, you stayed with someone toxic. Sounds like a you problem. You kept going back. You knew what he was like and you kept doing it. Yeah, cool. Let's just like completely shift the blame onto me. Like, can we at least acknowledge the manipulation, like how truly evil men can be? I think when men say that, they're completely deflecting off of the actual capacity that the rest of their species has. So you're not stupid for being in that situation. It's a lot more complicated than people realize. What people don't understand about women that stay in toxic situationships or relationships is that it comes to a certain point where you have literally put your entire life, heart on the line for this person. So you think, at this rate, I have to make this work because I have completely ruined my life for this man. So I have to prove to myself emotionally that this was worth it. There needs to be a moment where the penny drops and all this emotional energy and effort and turmoil I have put myself through was worth it. And women will hold out and hold out and hold out for that moment because that's what seems rational. And I think that makes complete sense. It can literally feel like you are drowning in the emotional orbit of this man. And it's not as simple as people think. I've been building and building and building on my self-concept and how I believe I should be treated and rewiring that in my brain. And that was when I was like, it's time to go. And you are on your own timeline and the cycle will end when you are ready for it to end. And in the meantime, I'm not judging you, but I really hope that this advice helped whatever stage you are at, whether you're still in one, whether you've exited one. I really do hope you guys love this episode. If you did stay to this point in the video, comment down below the brown heart emoji. If you did like this episode, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. Follow if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and follow my Instagram and TikTok if you like content like this. I love you guys so, so much, and I'll see you next week in the next episode.